I'll Fix It here, and the honeybee is here as well.
Hi.
So she has a project to do, and it's an oil change on what kind of car is it?
I have a 2007 Honda Civic EX.
Okay, and we're going to do that oil change with the help of our emotional support animal here, Blue. And stay tuned, and we'll show you how to do it. Honeybee's going to show us what we need there. It looks like we need new oil and a filter. And of course you need a couple of tools, and that way you can take the drain plug out, and that big plier thing actually works on the oil filter as well. Then of course you're going to need a rag and some place to drain your oil into, and then we're all set. Underneath of the car we are going to locate where the drain plug is. And in this car, it actually says drain oil, engine oil, right here, and it points to this thing right there. So that right there is where this wrench goes. Now, as soon as you've cracked it a little bit loose at all, then get your oil pan under here, ready to catch that oil. Okay, we've got oil draining, and it's draining into our pan here. And I might mention it's best to do this when your engine is warm. Then the oil comes out better. And you don't have to do it like super hot and burn yourself, but it's much better when the engine is warm than when it's cold. You get more oil coming out nicely. So while we're over here, we look right up here, and there's the oil filter. And so we're going to spin that off. Sometimes you can do it with your hands, otherwise you need those big plier things, channel locks. So now that the oil is pretty much drained out, we can put the oil plug back in and tighten it before you start doing anything else. You don't want to forget that. We had the oil drain plug is a number 17, and we got that tightened up there. And now we're going to spin this oil filter off. When we pull the oil drain pan over here underneath this filter, and then we'll just spin the filter off and let the oil go right in the pan. Let the whole filter drop in the pan. Go right down in there, and look what a mess I am. So be sure to have a rag handy. Okay, here's the new filter we're going to put in, and that rubber seal right here is dry, and what we want to do is just touch your finger in some oil somewhere and wet that thing a little bit. Okay, and then you screw this on. Okay, now we're spinning this new filter into place, and if it's a little oily on the outside, slippery, you can't get it tight enough with your fingers. But if it's nice and dry, you could actually crank it on tight enough with your fingers, or you could take this and don't over tighten, just slightly more than you could do with your fingers is good. Okay, the hardest part is done because we did the stuff that we did under the car. Now the oil's drained out, the drain plug is tight, the filter is on. The next step is all out here above the car. So now up on the top we find out where to put the oil in. Right there, we take that cap loose and we stick a funnel in there. Now a funnel is not totally necessary, but it sure helps keep from making a big mess. So we're going to dump some oil in, like half of it or something, and then we'll start checking the dipstick. Dipstick is over here, this bright orange one over there on this car. So after we get at least half the oil in there, we can start checking to see. It's probably going to take a lot more than, it's going to take most of that whole container, but I like to just start checking to make sure. When checking the dipstick, first thing I do is, I like to do is just wipe it off. And then poke it all the way down in there to the bottom, and then back out again. And it doesn't read any oil anywhere because we don't have enough in there to do that yet. Okay, so back. What we're gonna do now is take this old oil and we're gonna put it in the new oil container that's empty now. And after we do that, we can take this the old oil in the container over to the store where we bought the oil, and it's for free. You can just drop it off and say, hey, there's recycled oil here. Drop it off, and they do the recycling for you. Part of the service of where you bought the oil. Okay, that's another done deal there. Nice. So it really helps to have ramps like this. They're not very expensive, but if you don't have ramps like this, well, you can drive it up on old blocks or anything that you can find, but it really helps to have these kind of ramps.
Alright, so we finished the oil change. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We do appreciate the comments, and until next time, from me, I'll Fix It, and Blue here.
Adios, ciao.